Kyle, I think one of the things that people often overlook or forget about, or maybe even say, hey, look, that's old school marketing, that's old school, that doesn't work anymore, is what we call circle dialing, circle prospecting, really just cold calling. And I think a lot of people, because they don't like it or they aren't good at it, may say it doesn't work at all. Don't waste your time on it, do something else. And you're smiling now because we put a big emphasis. We have a huge team of people that literally our ISAs dial. And so what I would love for today's podcast to really dive into is, what is circle prospecting? Why would someone use it? How do you overcome that fear? And what kind of tools can you use to really maximize your use out of it?
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited to dive into this. We actually did a meeting with our team yesterday talking about like the importance of prospecting. And one of the things that sometimes happens when it comes to prospecting is newer agents will say things along the lines of like, well, I don't have enough people to call. So what am I supposed to do during my prospecting? Well, we live in San Diego County, and in San Diego County, there are over 3 million people that live in San Diego County. So have you called all 3 million? Because if you haven't, don't tell me that you don't have anybody to prospect. So I'm excited to dive in today. We'll talk about a little more about what circle dialing is, the tools that we use, how we approach it, all of that fun stuff. So I'm excited to dive in. With that said, welcome to the Whissel Way podcast. My name is Kyle Whissel, your host with eXp Realty in San Diego.
I'm Bryan Koci.
The goal of the show is give you the tools, techniques, and tactics to go out there and crush it in your business. The way that we like to do that is to answer the questions that you have for us. So if you ever have a question, you want to have it answered here on the show, you can always go to thewhisselway.com. You can ask us questions on there, subscribe to the podcast and YouTube channel, join our private Facebook group and email newsletter where we share a lot of tips and tricks of what we are working on internally. And you can get on our referral list for all the people that are leaving California. We're referring out like 5 to 6 buyers and sellers every single week. So I'd love to have great agents in our network to refer those out to. And then lastly, if you're looking to level up your content creation game, whether that be audio, video, social, whatever, Bryan and I have been together for 10 plus years now. We'll share everything we've learned over 10 plus years of creating content together to help shortcut that learning curve for you, all at thewhisselway.com.
It'd be fun to connect the old clips and be like, Bryan and I have been together 3+ years, 4+ years, 5+ years, all the way through. Yes. When we get to 25, then it'll be different. So let's start from the top. What is circle dialing or circle prospecting, and why should agents care about it?
Yeah, so the basic premise of circle prospecting is put a pin on a map, draw a circle around it, or whatever radius, mile radius, pull in the contact information for everybody who lives within that radius, and then prospect them. So a couple things with that, like one, where do you get that data? I'm sure there's plenty of tools out there that do it. The one that we currently use and have used for a number of years is called Cole Realty Resource, COLE, Cole Realty Resource. What I like with their service is that when I put that pin on a map, draw that radius around, I could do a regular radius. I could draw, a specific shape. Maybe I'm not trying to cross over like a river or a freeway or, things along those lines. So there's all kinds of different ways that I can draw my radius around a property. And then it will pull in the names, the phone numbers, the cell phone numbers, the email addresses. It'll pull in all this information for everybody that lives in that radius. You can scrub it against the do not call registry. And then you can integrate it with a lot of the popular dialing platforms like a Mojo, for example, and then automatically export the information out of Cole, import it into Mojo, and get to dialing, which is super powerful. So that's the service that we use to get that data. Go ahead.
Now, I know where you're going to go, but I wanted to ask the question. Yeah. People are always going to say, well, Kyle, I tried it once, I called, and it was the wrong number. It doesn't have 100% accuracy, so I won't use it. What do you say to that?
Cool. How's that working out for you not using it? Right? Because I would rather talk to a wrong number than no number. In fact, one of our agents on our team, Mike Proctor, he was circle prospecting around a listing, called, spoke with somebody, like, oh, you got the wrong number. He simply said, well, hey, while I have you on the line, have you had any thoughts of making a move? They're like, funny you should ask. Yes, we have. And Mike Proctor signed a listing with that person that was from a wrong number. The only way you know you have a wrong number is if you have a conversation with somebody, right? So if you're having a conversation with somebody, that's how we make money in this industry, is having conversations with as many people as possible and building relationships with those people based off those conversations. So the only way you're going to know you got a wrong number is if you have a conversation. If you have a conversation, you're one step closer to a closing. So I don't care. Nothing is perfect. There's no data source out there that's going to be 100% perfect. If you're right, have you just the first person you dated was like that the one, and you just marry that person? You've been with them forever.
Yes.
For Brian, yes.
Not quite, but close.
For the majority of the people in this world, the first person you dated was not the right one. You had to go through many of them to find the right one, and then you might have even thought you had the right one, and it turns out it wasn't the right one. There's no different. Like nothing's perfect, guys. Like there's no data source that's perfect. But even if it had a 50, I don't know what their accuracy percentage is. Who the hell cares? As long as you're just getting on the phone and having conversations with people, like quit thinking about what if. Like the what ifs are the reason that you're not making the kind of money that you want to make.
It's funny because I'm the what if guy.
Of course you are.
And there's a reason why we make different amounts of money. And I'm okay with that because I'm okay with what ifs. But you're like, just do it.
I've literally shown up to podcasts before with other people and hopped on the podcast and been like waiting for them to ask me questions. And they're like, all right, well, the next 45 minutes yours, Kyle. And I'm like, what am I supposed to talk about? And I just pull a 45-minute presentation out of my ass and go.
Yeah.
What if I get on a podcast and I don't know what to say? I'll figure it out.
So one more question about Cole before we move on to what scripting and things look like. Why Cole? There are other programs out there. Why Cole over those other ones? I know you were a research guy. I know you love to try everything. And also I know you don't promote things without using them. And I know we've used Cole for, I think as long as I've been here, for 10 years.
Yeah.
So why Cole as opposed to something else?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't found anything better. Plus, they're innovating. So I love that I can get everything in one place. Phone numbers, cell phone numbers, email addresses, physical addresses, all in one place. That's huge. They also have like a skip tracing functionality built in to where you could also do this inverted, where you could say, hey, I have all these addresses for this area that I want to farm, or maybe I got all these people to register at an event and I need to like find the rest of their information, and they can then retrieve that information for you so that they can kind of fill in the blank. So maybe you have a name and an address, but you don't have a phone number and an email, and they can go and find that information. So I love that. I love that it'll scrape it against the do not call list, or scrub it is probably the better term there. I also love that it will integrate with dialers like Mojo. You could also export to CSV files and import into any other system that you have out there as well. So just all of that stuff combined is really why we love Cole.
Where's the best way? Should they search it? Should they hit you up on DMs?
Yeah, send me a DM. I think I may have access to some sort of a discount or something. They usually hook me up with something like that. So just send me a DM on Instagram at Kyle Whissel. Just let me know you watched a podcast about circle prospecting. I'll send you over whatever offer I have available just to hook you up so you can get rolling with it.
Dope. So now we know what it is. Now we know the tool to use, which I was going to plug at the end, but I like that we plugged it early because I'm a big tool fan. Now we go, okay, cool, I want to do this. Yeah. Do I just pick a neighborhood around my neighborhood and say, hey, I'm Brian, you want to sell your house? Like, what do we do?
You could. I'll take that over nothing.
Okay.
I will take you calling 1,000 wrong numbers and just asking, do you want to sell your house, over you just sitting in your underwear watching Jerry Springer.
Well, you can still sit in your underwear and make phone calls.
You could.
Okay, so that is a way.
That's a way, yeah. So the two primary ways that I like to circle prospect, I like to have a reason for the call as opposed to the reason just being that I'm the local realtor. So reason number one that I like to circle prospect is around my open houses. Very, very rarely are you going to get met with hostility when you call somebody and invite them to come to an open house. It's very rare people are going to get upset and yell at you, because I know that's one of the fears, right? That's one of the biggest fears of why people don't make phone calls. They're scared they're going to call and somebody's going to yell at them. And we don't like to be yelled at. It hurts our feelings, and we're sensitive little flowers. So
I like how you say we, but he points at me.
I held my chest. And I made sure not to Elon and lift my hand. That's dangerous. Don't do that. Keep your hand at your chest next time, Elon. Do not raise it into the air when you are done. Let it fall.
That's a verb. I chose not to Elon it.
Yeah, do not raise your hand off of your chest, Elon. Bad idea. Don't do that. So a lot of us are scared we're going to get yelled at, right? Like it's very rare somebody's going to yell at you when you're calling like, hey, it's Kyle. You probably saw our sign that went up around the corner over on 123 Main Street. I want to give you a call, invite you. We're going to have that house held open this weekend. We're going to have some food. We're going to have some drinks. So I hope you can make it by. Like that's the open. Very rarely are you going to get yelled at there. So I like to open with something like that. Now, here's the mistake a lot of people make is I'm not making the circle prospect to get people to come to the open house, right? Why am I doing the open house is to get in a freaking conversation with people. Well, if I got them on the phone, the open house is simply the open to the conversation, but I'm in conversation. I have them, right? We're in the conversation, which was the goal of the open house in the first place. Not the goal wasn't to get a conversation at the open house. The goal was just to get a conversation. If I can get the conversation on the phone, then let's have the conversation on the phone. I don't need to try to get them on the phone and be like, all right, great. Well, hopefully you come to the open house on Saturday. What, and then hope they show up on Saturday? Like hope's not a strategy. So if I got them on the phone, let's have the conversation right then and there on the freaking phone. So I open about the open house and then I just roll into a conversation. The other opportunity on these is to dial around just listeds and just solds. So same thing. Hey, you probably saw our sign go up in the neighborhood. You know, in our experience, when one home sells in a neighborhood, usually 2 other homes sell in the next few months. So want to find out, you know, if you've had any thoughts of making a move. Like that's a great open as well. So the scripts that I like to use come from Mike Ferry. If you want a copy of the scripts, DM me at Kyle Whissel. I'll send you over the scripts. But both of those start with that open. And then the rest of the conversation is pretty much the same. Have you had any thoughts of making a move? No. If not, who do you know who's looking to move into the neighborhood? How long have you lived in the neighborhood? If you were to make a move, where would you go? Great. What would take you there? When would you like to be there? Right? It's the same scripting. It's just a different open on those conversations. So again, if you want the actual scripts, just DM me. I'll send them over to you. Mike Ferry, he's the OG of this thing. And I think they're the best scripts that exist.
Okay. 2 things I want to add to that. One, I love the open house invite. What I've heard other agents do in the past, which I think is really unique, because they may not be as confident on the phone or whatever you call it, but they say, hey, just want to let you know we're having an open house on Saturday. I plan to have a bunch of people come through. It might be a little bit busy. Just want to give you a heads up so that way, you know, if a car is parked in your spot or something like that, give me a call and I'll make sure it gets handled. And they come from that side of it of like, just going to warn you, I'm going to have a caterer here. We're going to have a bunch of food. I would love for you to come, but it might get a little bit busy from this time. And so then you're also prepping them, hey, this is going to be really exciting. This is going to be a busy open house. This is what I do. And then no one's going to yell at you when you say, hey, if something happens, if something goes wrong, let me know. They're not going to be like, I'm mad at you. I mean, if they are, they're going to yell at you no matter what. The other thing, the question I have, so I love the open house, the just listed, just sold. Well, Kyle, I don't have any listings. I haven't sold any listings. So I guess I can't do that one.
Yeah, there's no rule. Okay, let me preface this. This varies from state to state. Here in California is what I can speak about. In California, sold information is public information. So I am allowed to call and say, hey, you probably saw a sign go up around the corner from you on 123 Main Street. And great news, that home just closed escrow. I'm allowed to say the address, the price, as long as I don't pretend that I was the one who sold the home. Now, if I represented the buyer, I'm allowed to say I sold the home. Trust me, I've gotten in a fight over this. I was on the losing end of the fight. I can say I sold the home. Rather, I can't say I listed the home, but I can say I sold the home if I represented the buyer. Legally, I'm in a place to do that. So you do not want to pretend that you sold the home, right? You could say, oh, great news, that home sold with multiple offers, sold over list price, whatever the case may be. You could state that. Just don't state you sold the home unless you were a party to the sale. But in California, you can call. That's public information, sold, the address, the price. You can disclose all of that information. You cannot do that on active properties in California, but you can do that on sold properties.
Oh, I didn't know you can do that on active.
Yeah, you're not allowed to public. I guess you could debate if you could do it. You couldn't put it in print on actives.
But could you call and say, hey, you probably saw down the street there's a home listed for sale.
Private marketing, because it's a one-to-one conversation, you probably are okay.
But if it's listed.
Yeah, but I can't run a flyer with other agents actively listed properties with the address and the price on them. There's a rule against that. I can do it once they're sold, but I cannot do it when they're active. But that's in like a more of a public format. I think in a private one-to-one format, again, as long as I'm not pretending or putting myself where I'm leading somebody to believe I'm the listing agent on it, I think you're going to be clear there. But you can't publicly market actives or pendings without listing agent permission.
So check with your broker, check with your state to make sure you're in the clear. We should asterisk this whole thing. Always check with people, right?
Yeah. One thing we didn't touch on, just to make sure we hit, is that you want to, ideally, if you're going to door knock, if we're thinking about sequentially how we run this here, if you're going to door knock and dial, I like to door knock first, dial second. The reason for that is when I door knock, I get to, whether I speak with them at the door or not, I get to leave something at the door. So now when I follow up with a phone call, now I can say, hey, Brian, I was in the neighborhood the other day. You probably got the flyer that I dropped off. Like right now I can follow up on that flyer, and there's a decent probability they received that flyer. So that just is going to help when I make that phone call. So if you're trying to think, if I'm going to knock and dial, which do I do first? Knock first, dial second.
That gave me some more ideas. When you circle dial, let's say around an open house, do you leave a voicemail, or do you do like a voicemail drop, automated voicemail drop?
I believe there may be rules against voicemail drops. I'm not 100% sure. I think maybe in a mass format, you're not allowed to. Like them. Yeah, I like to leave a personal one. So I am a fan of leaving messages because if I don't leave a message, you don't know I called. And unless I'm going to call you over and over and over again, then why would I call and not make it known that I called? So if same thing with door knocking, right? Like if I knock and you don't answer and I don't leave something, you don't know I knocked. So I'd much rather leave something so you know I was there than you have no clue that I was ever there.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. And I love that you said, because you went to my next one, following up. Again, let's go to the open house. So we door knock, we call. If we don't get them, we leave a voicemail. We hold the open house.
Yes.
Do you follow up after the open house and say...
So my ideal strategy with this circle prospecting is you're hitting them at multiple times throughout the process. So depending if you're doing open houses or not, what your laws are with marketing prior to going live with clear cooperation. This is such a hot mess right now because it varies from like each MLS gets to make their own rules around this now. Like it reminds me of what's happening with the government. It's just messy right now. So talk to your broker, find out what the rules are. If you can, call pre-list before, like as soon as the sign goes up, make a call and you do this. And then you're going to do it a second time for the open house. If it's your listing, you're going to do it a third time when it goes pending. And then you're going to do it a fourth time when it's sold. So it's, hey, Brian, you probably saw our sign went up around the corner over on 123 Main Street. Wanted to just have you be one of the first person that knows, hey, that home's on the market listed for $1 million. Right? Want to find out who do you know who's looking to make a move in the neighborhood, right? That's the open. Then I'm calling a second time. Hey, Brian, remember that property I told you about that we just listed for $1 million? Well, we're going to have it held open this weekend. I wanted to invite you and the family to come by and come check it out. Boom. Second call. Third call. Hey, Brian, remember that house that I told you about that we were listing for $1 million? You did the big open house. You probably saw we had a ton of people there and everything. Well, great news. We ended up going under contract on that property the first weekend. We had multiple offers on it. So I just wanted to circle back with you and think, has anybody come to mind who might be looking to make a move? Because I had 8 offers on that property. 7 people didn't get it and are looking to move in the neighborhood. So has anybody come to mind that might be looking to make a move? Boom. Then I'm going to call again when it's sold. Hey, Brian, remember that property I told you about that we were listing for $1 million and we did the big open house. We had all the people there. We had the 8 offers on it. 7 people missed out on it. Well, now that it's closed, I can tell you we ended up selling for $1.1 million. We got $100,000 over the list price. Again, there's 7 people looking to move in the neighborhood and we just raised the ceiling in the neighborhood by $100,000. So I just want to circle back. Does anybody come to mind? Right? You're hitting it 4 times. People will respect the hell out of you that you called 4 times.
I really want to hear from someone who's listening to this on 2 times speed and just see them look at their phone and go, what the hell's happening? Why is it like quadrupling the speed? You went through that really fast, but I thought that was really good. Not last thing, I don't know how I said that. How many homes do you call around that? Do you pull in 100, 250, 1,000? What do you do?
That's just going to depend on what your capacity is. So in an ideal world, if I'm newer, I'm knocking more doors and I'm making more dials. Because I have more time than anything else. So if I have more time, I'm doing more. Or if I'm more experienced and I have, 50. When I was with one of the agents the other day and I was showing them like the board I used to have on the wall when I was doing deals. And at one point I had like 15 properties in various phases. Like I had a lot less time in that scenario. So I'm going to do less. So it's really about your capacity. But I would say 100 should be like a minimum and maybe 1,000 on a maximum, and play around with what your time is, right? If you're brand new, you got no deals pending, go high, right? But if you're super experienced, you got 15 deals pending, maybe it's going to be lower, but you should still do it either way.
And I think it also probably could depend on the size of the neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
Like your old neighborhood, Sky Ranch, there was $1 million homes, and then there was condos, and then there was apartments. That's how
it's kind of an island, right? So I like to try to stay within the same complex or the same community or the same subdivision, because you're going to get a better responsiveness. Whereas if you're just like, I'm going to call the whole city, not going to hit the same. But if I list a home in Sky Ranch and I call somebody who's also in Sky Ranch, I'm going to have a better probability of success. Like the meeting we did with our team yesterday was like, how do we increase our conversation to appointment rate? Well, one of them is dialing people that are in the right neighborhood, right? Where like there's a connection. So if I talk to somebody in Sky Ranch about a property in Sky Ranch, the probability of me setting an appointment with them is higher than if I call somebody who's in Chula Vista, 40 miles away, to tell them about a property that's in Sky Ranch. My probability of conversation to appointment is going to be lower.
Yes. You got 35 more minutes to go. I'm just kidding. How do you recommend agents get over the fear of cold calling? And then we'll go into my last section, which is brand new. We're getting rid of the Whissel widget of the week. At least we're going to try it for a little while. And I've got a new section called What Would Whissel Do? It's going to be fun.
Okay. So how do you get over, just quit being a bitch. Like that's how you get over your call reluctance. Just do it, right? You're scared. I was scared the first time I got on a bike. And I got on that son of a bitch and I fell over, right? Even though it had 4 wheels and not just 2 wheels. And I fell over and I got back on the bike again and I fell over again and I got back on. And then eventually I stopped falling over. And then eventually I didn't need the training wheels anymore. And then eventually I was jumping that bad boy off of curbs, taking it off sweet jumps. And I got better and I got better and I got better. The same thing's going to happen with your calls. Like your first call, you're going to fall. And your second call, you're probably going to fall too. But your first call is always going to be your worst call. And you're just going to get better every single time. The more you do it, the better you're going to get. And quite honestly, like if you want to be successful in this business, you're going to have to get comfortable being on the phone, because a realtor who won't make phone calls is like a barista at Starbucks that won't make coffee. They're not going to have a job very long at Starbucks, and you're not going to have a job very long as a realtor. Got to make the phone calls, guys.
All right, here we go. We're going
Tough love, sorry.
No, I like it. We're going into this new segment that I called What Would Whissel Do? Because I thought that would be fun.
We like the alliteration. Yeah, way to go.
Yeah, I figured we can make little bracelets. It'll be really fun. So what I did is I went through Facebook. I went through Reddit. I went through Twitter. I actually didn't go through that one. I don't even care what it's called. And I looked for interesting stories that I wanted to ask you how you would respond. Okay. So this one's called, Is This a Legitimate Threat? It's a whole page, so you have to listen for a minute. Is this a legitimate threat? This is a real estate agent. I had a client with a listing that received 2 offers. One was submitted first and was decent, though the seller had previous interactions with these buyers and they were rude to the seller and acted very entitled. The offer did seem strong, but we had made it clear that we had set date and time that we were going to review offers, and they still put on the offer that they required a response prior to that time. This upset the seller, as well as she felt it was disrespectful and inconsiderate. A second offer came in, and it was a stronger offer. She opted to accept the second one. When the agent for the first offer was told her client's offer was being rejected, she did not want to counter to the strength of the second offer and the attitude of the people of the first offer. She called me and started making threats that I didn't give her clients a chance to submit a new offer and was going to report me. This sounds ridiculous to me, and I don't want to talk to my broker yet for fear of sounding like a dummy. This is mistake number 1. Your broker should be your friend. But I really don't think she can make any formal complaints against me for not allowing her clients to submit another offer at the direction of my client. As long as there was no protected discrimination involved in her decision, which there wasn't, as far as I'm understanding, my client can accept or reject any offer she wants for any reason and doesn't have to provide that reason. When the agent asked why the offer was rejected and the other one was accepted without her clients getting a chance to submit a different offer, I simply told her that my client was comfortable with the other offer submitted and it was a strong offer. I left it at that, got yelled at and threatened, and responded with, "Sounds good. Good luck to you and your clients in their search." I just want to confirm that I didn't do anything actually wrong here. What do you got?
I agree. As long as the offer was presented, that's the only responsibility that you have as a listing agent, is to present all offers to the seller. You do not have to tell somebody like, "Oh, well, we're rejecting this. Come back with something better." Like, there's no obligation. Your sole obligation is to present the offer to the seller and then follow the seller's direction at that point. So if the seller told them to pound sand, then pound sand. You don't even owe them a formal rejection. If it's requested, then you could provide a written rejection of it. So if they wanted that, I'd be happy to provide that, but I don't owe that to them. So at the end of the day, I don't see that this agent has done anything wrong as long as they presented the offer when it was received. They don't owe anything to the person who was a D-bag.
I know this because when I bought my house, my offer got rejected just like this with no rejection. And I remember asking you, "Kyle, aren't they going to counter or something?" You go, "They don't have to."
Yeah, there's no, I mean, also requests for repairs is what we call it here in California. I don't have to even respond to your request for repairs. There's no obligation to do that. The only obligation is to perform along my duties, but I don't have to, I could just say, "No, pound sand." I don't have to agree to anything. You still have to remove your contingencies. You can ask for whatever the hell you want, but I don't have to agree to it. So I don't think the agent's done anything wrong. And I would tell the other agent to pound sand. And for me, I might say, "Hey, Brian, out of curiosity, do you think that this approach is going to help? If this deal falls through," which you and I know deals do fall through, "do you think coming at me like this is going to help your cause if it falls through? Let's work together, man. This is a small business. And, I'd love to do a deal with you someday, but I don't know that this current approach is going to motivate anybody to want to do deals with you." So I don't have a problem telling somebody that. And if they want to cuss and yell at me, that's fine. But I know that when I have that conversation with somebody, even though they're going to be mad in the moment, might tell me to F off, they're going to think about it later, whether it be that day or that week or, later that month. At some point, they will remember that conversation. I think they might approach the situation differently in the future.
That's all I got for you.
All right, cool, guys. Well, hopefully you got value out of the show today. If you did, if you are watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up button. If you have questions, throw them in the comments section. Brian and I personally respond to all of those. And if you want more of our content on there, hit the subscribe button and the little notification bell. And if you're on a podcast platform, hit that subscribe button so you get notified of all our future shows. And if you could hook us up with a review on there, those podcast reviews mean the world to us, really help spread the word about the show. And yeah, that's it. We're not doing a Whissel Widget of the Week, so I don't have to worry about that. So if you guys want to stay in touch with Brian and myself, I'm at Kyle Whissel. He is at Bryan Koci on Instagram. Look forward to hearing from you on there. With that said, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Whissel Way podcast. We'll see you next week.